for the active duty veterans. I would also like to have that considered for the LE as well.
Yes, ma'am. And what we can do, Supervisor Lee brought up a great point to me a couple of days ago about looking at also potentially offering discounts for staff members of the county and town, that with the 4-person pool management committee, we can bring those ideas up through that avenue, have them talk about it, and then bring it back for consideration. That's a great suggestion.
Mr. Chairman, one final before you step down, and it's a side note, but I don't remember where I was this week. Picked up this town paper commercial or Culpeper Times, but in it they did a article on the commercial development plans that have stalled over at Clevenger's, and they mentioned that in December of 24, the Board of Supervisors unanimously approved amendments to the proffers, and as part of that agreement, the developer committed funding for maintenance at nearby Spielman Park. Did you receive any of it?
I can check with Miss Valerie Lamb, but I do not know, to my knowledge, where or if we have.
Well, I'd certainly like to follow up on that.
We can take a look at that, sir, and let you know.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, to Supervisor Ferris, yeah, we are accounting for those proper dollars as each CO comes in for that development. That is calculated and then it's divvied up into the various sectors, because you got school, parks and rec, public safety.
He's keeping his end of the agreement.
So far, yes, sir.
All right.
Great. Supervisor Bates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hardy, to Supervisor Ferris's comment with the town, at one time there was I had some concern, major concern with the tap fee that was being charged. And at the top of my head, I think it was somewhere north of $150,000 for the tap fee. And then it was being, did that ever get resolved to?
The number was actually 195, so not to cause more heartburn, but 195. And the response that we got from town council was that because it was an enterprise account, they could not modify the donation, because with them committing already $5 million to the project, if they were to adjust it, it would basically be $5.2 million that they'd commit.
So that said, the tap fee, I would think that a tap fee on something on the swimming pool would be to service restrooms and concession stand, because we have wells out there that are potable water that we could very well fill the pool ourselves. Am I right in thinking that or no?
Well, the pump house that's on site is actually owned by the town. And if you remember, we went through this exercise last year when we lost possession of it because of the drought. Now, future considerations is for that discussion a year and a half ago, we had talked when the school development came across the corner, running a line from the school site to the sports complex so that we would have designated water. It could potentially be a possibility. But with the water tap fee, it's also to be able to fill the pool and do other services and operate the fire hydrant that we installed on property, which again is an insurance measure, because we've got a pool, a field house, and other concession stands. And up to 3 months ago, we didn't have a fire hydrant on property. So
I always thought that the fire hydrants, that was outside of the tap. The tap fee is based off the size line that you come off the 6-inch main going to that facility.
yeah, I believe the two feed each other, because we tapped in right in the middle of the road, right there at Cyclone, and it's run down that sidewalk system. And I think the two feed each other. So I think it played into it, but I can triple check for you, Supervisor.
I would appreciate that, because that's hard for me to.
I'd appreciate very much if you would check on that also, because when you mentioned the well that we lost, maybe that would be the well that we helped improve the town's water supply with, would be another way to look at that. So finding, if we need to adjust things, maybe we can adjust there. So perhaps there's some creative way so that we're not paying a heck of a lot of money to fill up a pool by a well that we just contributed to the town's water system.
Yes, sir. We can take a look at it.
Supervisor Deal.
Yeah, Andrew, on the scholarship program, I know we do fundraisers every 2 or 3 years, but can you refresh my memory and tell us what we fundraised the first time?
Yeah, so several years back, we did the gala at Old House Vineyards, and through the contributions and actually continued contributions of several local members, we had folks that did 3-year commitments of $20,000, 5-year commitments of $20,000. We've secured, if my memory serves me correct, over $350,000 to support the Recreation Scholarship Fund. And the program is exploding so much that just this last fiscal year, we gave out over 350 scholarships to the value of over $45,000. And I have this report that I can provide you guys as well, that thanks to the board and local residents, we've been able to create access to recreation for any and all individuals. The coolest part about this program, it is managed by Ms. Tabitha Riley, our recreation superintendent. She does an outstanding job with it. It's one universal and formal process to access the funds. It is completely confidential and been steadily growing, that we do now have to step out and really request additional funds for the community. So that gala will be coming again here very shortly.
Any further questions or comments?
And
Not, oh, yes, go ahead.
one last thing before I step down. I got Mr. Joe Kuntz back here, hiding there to the right. I do have to give his team a lot of credit. These last 8 to 9 days with the weather and the snow and ice, his guys have done some real yeoman work getting our park squared up and go. And there's not a way that I can step down from this podium without thanking Joe and his team. So
Great. Thank you very much.
thank you, guys.
And we'll take a 5-minute break before continuing. Thank you. I got to use the restroom.
This is gentleman in the front row. I don't know. He's been on his phone the entire time. I do not know. The entire time. He's just like texting. He's getting locked up. All right.
You know, I had a meeting yesterday.
How's everything? Good. How are you? Not too bad. Good.
I had a meeting yesterday morning. Came back to the office at lunchtime. Busy schedule. And then Eileen was leaving, and I wanted to leave at the same time. She's got a key, and I didn't know to hold down my key in the car. And so I said, I'm leaving too. So I went out and jumped in my car. I realized that I didn't know. Since I got back in the office at 12 o'clock, so I'd record that. And I had like a 45-minute drive in front of me.
Time to go.
Yeah.
All right, we will bring the meeting back to order, and with it, I've had a request, and I guess unless there's objection, we're going to go ahead with 5.02 first, and ask our Director of Planning and Zoning, Denise Harris, to present.
Good morning. For those of you who I haven't met yet, I'm Denise Harris, the new Planning and Zoning Director. So it's nice to meet you. This morning, I'm here to introduce to you an application to waive the 5-year timeline for a family subdivision request. I think it's the last one. It's thinking. Well, I'll keep going until this. There we go. So the owner applicant is a Mr. Jimmy Southard, and the subject property is in the Cedar Mountain Magisterial District, and it is located off of Cedar Mountain Drive with a private easement that is called Rumsey Road. The subject parcel on the zoning map to the left is approximately 26 acres and is zoned A1 agricultural and is listed on the future land use map as agricultural and rural. This property and the property owner began on June 7th, 2024, with on the lower left, you'll see an original subdivision of approximately 13 acres. In March 7th of 25, the property owner then boundary line adjusted in an additional 12 acres for a total of 26.32 acres. The applicant now is interested in trying to subdivide for a family subdivision so that they have the original two unique lots of the 12.95 acres and the 13.37 acres. Your zoning ordinance does allow for these types of family subdivisions, but does so based on a period of 5 years, and the applicant has not owned the property continuously yet for 5 years. The Board of Supervisors is allowed to grant a waiver if an unusual situation exists, and when there is strict adherence to the general regulations would result in substantial injustice or hardship. If the board does choose to grant this waiver, the applicant would still be required to submit the notarized family division affidavit, which then gets reviewed by the county attorney and requires that the family hold the parcel for a minimum of 5 years. So the next steps is the applicant is here and can speak to their request. And then the board would decide whether or not to issue a determination if a hardship exists, and then take action whether or not to approve or deny the request.
Questions for, yes, Supervisor Bates?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Would that have not met the requirements at the original 13 and 12? That meets the minimum lot size requirements for RA and A1, is that right?
For the 10 acres, sir?
Yes.
Yes, but in this case, there is a caveat in the zoning ordinance that states that if it's part of a boundary line adjustment that exceeds 25%, which this does, then it is not subject to the minor subdivisions.
So was the parcel less than the 13 acres when he added the second, when he bought the second parcel? Am I understanding this correctly?
The first parcel was 12 acres.
Which is
or it's 13 acres, and then boundary line adjusted in an additional 13.
So the additional 13 that he purchased second, if he left both of those alone, he could have built on either parcel.
It was part of an adjacent property, so they just did a boundary
They
line
cut off of
adjustment.
that. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense now. Okay.
Questions? Okay, with that, if it's the pleasure of the board, we'll hear from the applicant, I guess. Mr. Southern.
Thank you for that. My name's Jimmy Southern, been a Culpeper member all my life. I purchased the property under guidance if I bought the 13 acres and then bought the 12 acres, which I bought the 13 acres a year earlier than I did the 12. That I could build, my son could build a house with us. And then when I went to Neil don't have no problem with it whatsoever. But he said I would have to come through the board to see if I could get it approved for me and my son to build a house there.
Questions for Mr. Southern? Thank you very much, Mr. Southern.
Thank y'all, and I'd appreciate y'all's vote.
Yes,
Thank
sir. Do we have, yes, sir. Yes, Ms. Brown.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we accept this as proposed. I have spoken with zoning and Neil as well, and I've spoken with the original property owner. All are in agreement that this is what's right. And county staff, do you want to weigh in on that as well?
No, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Brown, it's supported by code and Director Harris just laid out the procedure that you need to go through under 960. In that light, I would suggest that you do find a hardship just because that term is used in the code. So just, you don't have to get into details, we never do. But it would be good to kind of use that term for support.
So the motion would be due to a hardship, the waiver is approved?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I believe it was Supervisor Bates seconded. We have a motion. Yes, Supervisor Bates. With this, because it is a waiver, we will have to have a roll call vote. Ms. Ellis, if you could, so in support of the waiver due to a hardship.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Waivers approved unanimously. Thank you. New business, the board will discuss releasing the hiring freeze for certain positions. Sam?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On January 6th, the board passed that resolution that established a hiring freeze. We have several vacant positions. What we've gone through, at least temporarily, is identified what staff would consider basically high priority positions or ones that we think that do need to be filled more urgently than others for county operations. And we would like for the board to consider allowing these positions to be unfrozen, basically, allow them to continue through the hiring process. Just in a nutshell, I actually heard from Director Hardy as far as Parks and Rec staff needs there for seasonal staff for the pool. There's probation, pretrial officer, an EMT position, animal control officer, and HVAC technician under environmental services. Mr. Chairman, Director Lawrence is here. She has put together some hiring justification, or basically justification needs why we think that those positions should be moved forward through their process. But if the board would like more information, either I can answer it, hopefully, or Director Lawrence can too.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, speaking as one supervisor, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion that we release the hiring freeze for these positions. I personally don't feel like we need to have our HR director come up and give us more information.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second discussion.
One question, is this animal control officer in addition to the one, or is that the one that we talked about?
No, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Brown, thank you for highlighting that. We may have additional staffing needs there. In addition to this was an existing position. If you notice there, kind of the last little clause in what the justification, we are asking the board to approve any future vacancies that may be part of some ongoing issues that we have there. So.
Further discussion. All right, we have a motion before us and a second. All those in favor of removing the hiring freeze for the outlined positions, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Next up, 5.03, the Board of Supervisors intends to accept and execute 2 certain contracts with Whitman Record Associates and Rinker Design Associates as needed for engineering services. Sam?
Thank you,
or-
Mr. Chairman. Our procurement director, Mr. Culpeper, is here too. He has worked hard to prepare these for some time now. We've gone through an RFP process, but the contracts have been reviewed and are ready for execution if the board desires. And Alan can answer any questions related to that.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Back last year, it was directed from the board to go out for a formal solicitation for construction management and engineering inspection services. This was in conformance not only with the county purchase resolution and the Code of Virginia, but also with VDOT too. It was a lot of collaboration involved with VDOT. There's some rules there. I learned a lot about VDOT doing this, but I come to you today. We had 6 proposals that were received for this project. The evaluation team picked 2 most qualified firms, which was Whitman, Recor, and Rinker Design Construction. These 2 contracts on an as-needed basis only. And anything that an additional, there will be involved with a task order to perform this. And I would also like to say that this was in compliance with VDOT and the Title VI that they require for the inspections. And after we chose it, it had to go to VDOT for their approval, for their award practice. I've been working with Director Ms. Harrison a lot. She will be the locality contract administrator for these projects, for any capital improvement projects that the Board of Supervisors desires to pursue. So with that said, I'd like to recommend an award to WRA and RDA Associates for this contract.
Question? Yes, sir. Supervisor Deere.
Yeah, Mr. Culpeper, you mentioned the most qualified
Yes, sir.
entities. How about from a cost standpoint?
That's what it was part of the review from VDOT. It had to go for VDOT's approval. And from there, they looked at the cost of the ski fee schedules that they provided us. VDOT made recommendations. With that, working closely with Ms. Harris, she could probably address that a little bit better than I could, but it had to get approved as far as the fee schedules through VDOT, that it wasn't overpriced for the fees that they were charging.
Are they the lowest bid?
No, this was an RFP. We were going with the best
okay.
qualifications.
And it's not for a specific project, Mr. Chairman. This is for on-call services. So what they did is it's a little bit unusual. Normally we have a specific project that a contractor is going to complete. These would be potential projects, mainly for revenue sharing projects that are upcoming.
But they're providing hourly
Fee
rates,
schedule. Yes, sir.
rates and lump sum rates, right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
They do. Those are posted in the contract information, their rate schedule.
Yeah, I believe that's Exhibit C of the contract, I believe.
So how do they do the other offerers?
How did they,
How do they compare
to the, well.
the fee schedule?
Okay, we didn't, in accordance with the Code of Virginia, we cannot ask for price. We can talk ballpark figures, non-binding price during the interviewing process. And again, we weren't looking at price where it's an RFP, you're looking for the best qualified vendor, not the lowest responsible bidder, in order to get the best qualified vendor for this project. If we went out for a lowest price, we would have to take the lowest responsible bidder that may not have the qualifications to do the job.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add one comment, and part of the reason why we're wanting to move forward with 2 is for that reason. So if there's a project that we're wanting to have contract services on or construction management services on, we can actually task potentially, and I don't know if we can go to bid, Alan, or not with those 2, but we have set fee schedules that that are in this contract if the board chooses to approve this contract for these 2 services that we would work with. But those projects are not assigned yet at all. So the numbers would come back through the board through a separate task order approval process.
Okay. And Mr. Deal, just to emphasize on your point a while ago, I think we threw out bidding process. Under the Code of Virginia, engineering services is a professional service, and therefore an RFP must be issued rather than bid.
I'm still confused. So it's a job order contract. I understand that. So for jobs that are minimal, what, under 50 grand or how much? How much?
In accordance with the code and purchase resolution, any service, goods or service over $50,000 requires a formal, non-professional services over $50,000 requires a formal solicitation. Professional services, anything over $30,000 requires a formal solicitation.
Right. So I guess my question is, from a fee schedule standpoint, are they in the top 3 as far as being the, if they have technician that's, $120 an hour versus another company that's got a technician for $185 an hour? I mean, you looked at all that, correct?
Well, that's what part of the approval process for VDOT was. It went through their ACO audit and got back with the county regarding this on deficiencies or things that need to be improved or to negotiate price. But VDOT has approved it, had to get it approved through VDOT before I was allowed to bring it to the board for my recommendation for approval.
What I'm wondering, maybe much more simply, is are we confident through the 6 that there wasn't a better deal that could do it than the 2 we're selecting?
Well, I believe we had 6 good competitive offers. We had an evaluation team that read and ranked each of the proposals. From that, I believe we called in the top 4, I want to say, providers that could perform the job that the evaluation team felt was the best recommendation. And from the evaluation team, these 2 firms were chosen as most qualified and to enter negotiation with and ask for an invitation of a fee schedule.
Other questions? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the firms as stated in the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Supervisor Lee, a second from Supervisor Brown. Further discussion?
At this point, we have no financial obligation to them. It's just that when that time comes, we'll have them to utilize under these funds. That's correct.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Brown, that's 100% correct, yes.
And then I believe Planning Director Harris is going to work with Mr. Culpeper relative to looking at procuring other services through an RFP process.
Yes, we did speak of that briefly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, did it come through building and grounds? I don't recall it coming through building and grounds.
I believe that went through Public Works because it was roads.
Yeah. This has been a process that we started with
like
the
a year
former
ago.
director of planning and zoning, and has been kind of laid out. I don't know, Alan, how long has this been?
May 2025, we
Right.
started this process.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
With that, committee reports. Works did not meet, rules did not meet, buildings and grounds,
No action items, Mr. Chairman.
personnel. No action items. E911 and public safety.
No action items.
No action items. Okay, great. Economic Development Director's Report, Mr. Rothmel. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on, I forgot Town and County, that's a new one for me on here, all right. All right, no action items there, sorry about that. Economic Development Director's Report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I want to talk about some proposed programming that we have here to round out FY26. using last strategic plan goal. First, starting with Be a Culpeper Local, this is our small business development program, especially for those in the community. We work in multiple buckets. This is the one that we do our small business work in. It includes our Shop Local campaign, Be a Culpeper Local Week, which will be coming back in August. Facts and Snacks, which is I say monthly, it happens actually more frequently than monthly, but our monthly series where businesses can come in and take some courses. Our Culpeper County Conference, which will be again in May, and then our just general business assistance that we do for small businesses. Our 2026 changes that we're looking at, business owners have multiple ways to access leverage capital. Like they can go to People Inc., they can go to Community Investment Collaborative, or they can go to traditional banks. Very appreciative of that. We are very blessed to have those options. Small, medium, and large, really. People Inc. being the medium, Community Investment Collaborative being smaller than that, and then traditional banks, going much larger. But overwhelmingly, we're hearing from those three that business owners that are seeking that, they need help with their finances. Last month, it's currently a jobs board. We're continuing the soft skills training. We're launching that manager training that we talked about, and we're also creating that new website, things that we discussed last.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. County Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be real brief because I'm going to hope to talk a little more during our work session for the budget session here. Just wanted to remind the board of the budget calendar. We have today, hopefully as soon as we can get out of closed session, to go into a work session at the board's pleasure for revenue discussion. We'll have next week, Thursday, February 12th, and then also after your morning meeting on Tuesday, March 3rd, the next couple lined up. So just wanted to remind the board of that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Only question I'd have, are we going to do all this without food?
We'll hopefully have some food at some point, Mr. Chairman, because I'm going to need some too. So.
All right, great. Thank you. Next up, motion for closed session.
That's it. That's a lot of them.
Sorry about that, Supervisor Deal, Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we move into closed session to discuss the following items. 9.01 pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A6 and 29. The board will discuss and consider the award of a public contract involving expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the board, county. 902, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 and 4, the board will discuss and consider citizen appointments to the following committees: Culpeper Economic Development Advisory Committee and Culpeper Cable Commission. 903, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7 and 8, the board will consult with legal counsel regarding a specific legal matter pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in an open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the board, and requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel where, if made public initially, the legal position of the board would be adversely affected. 904, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7, 8, and 29, the board will receive legal advice and discuss and consider investment of public funds relating to real property located in the Cedar Mountain District, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating, litigating posture of the board. 9.05, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A29, the board will discuss and consider the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion or the terms of scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the board and county.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
No, second.
Is there further discussion? All those in favor of entering closed session, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Our attorney prefers a roll call on this. Ms. Ellis, if you could do a roll call for us closed session.
Yes, ma'am.
Aye.
Yes.
We're in closed session. Thank you.